My name is Wajeeha, not Wajo, not Wahiji or Wajika. It's 3 syllables, Wajeeha. Just to get to me, my siblings would call out my name as Wajuji or Wajo in a busy store, and people would turn around to look who that was. All I wanted to do was just hide. Or I would sometimes even beat them at their game and pretend to look also to see who they were calling at. They knew I was ashamed of my name. I'm Wajeeha Khan, and this is my Oxford Talk. Names aren't the only things I used to fold up and hide about. It got to a point for me where the only way I felt safe in the world was if I could get all my fingers to hide in the fold of my elbow skin. It felt safe. I didn't realize that what I was getting really good at was emotional origami. Do you know what that means? It's the act of bending and folding our real emotions, suppressing our true feelings to make ourselves more acceptable or less noticeable, much like how a simple piece of paper is folded into a complex origami design. In my case, I folded and twisted my feelings so much that I believed I was fitting right into society like a beautiful origami flower. But in reality, my authentic emotions were simply getting folded and hidden away, as if I was intricately shaping a piece of paper into an art of emotional origami. I spent some of my formative years in Bangladesh. At the time, I was about 6 or 7, and to give you some context, the school system believed heavily on memorization. It was not about if you understood the subject or not, it was how well you memorized the answers. In one such class, I believe it was my geography class, where the teacher asked me to come to the front and recite the answer. I didn't know it, or maybe I didn't do it according to the words given for memorization. Anyway, I got it wrong. Before I finished talking, I felt a slap. My face, my whole face, felt it. I was so shocked as I watched her walk to her desk to take her wooden ruler, which, by the way, had a thin metal lining on one side. Why? I have no idea. As she hit me on my knuckles and hands, I felt numb with pain as my tears kept flowing. But then she felt the need to teach me a lesson so I would not do this again. Shame me in front of the school. She told me to go to the school courtyard. This is where we did our morning assemblies, meaning most classrooms had a view of the space. She told me to go there in the sun, crouch down, put my hands through under my knees and hold my ears. I needed to do this for the remaining duration of the class. We called it sitting like a chicken, a position of shame. As I sat there, that shame drowned me, spoke to me. I was not good enough. There was something wrong with me. That's why this happened to me. That incident left a deep scar, and I made a promise to myself. Never put yourself out there. Just hide, and you'll be safe. So my boss asked me for the sales numbers, which is not a problem since I'm responsible for running the sales reports. I went and looked at the sale numbers, and I couldn't make sense of them. So I started with 1,956,501. I just couldn't do it. So then I'm like, I'll just read you the number, 109,565,01. What? "What is that?" my boss replied. In that moment of panic, I then said, "I'll cut and paste them for you. Check your email." Because the last thing I wanted for him was to figure out that I couldn't read numbers. Well, apparently he did. About a week later, he walks up to me and says, "You've got a little problem with numbers, eh?" I didn't answer. I then proceeded to provide an answer for other questions he had previously asked. My attempt to dodge the bullet. Many of us have hidden weaknesses that we have developed incredible coping mechanisms for. Mine was fold yourself out of the way. Just hide. Allow me to recount another incident. I found myself in a marketing meeting surrounded by brilliant minds, all passionately exchanging ideas for a new project. As the meeting unfolded, an innovative approach to the project suddenly dawned upon me. However, just as I was on the verge of sharing my insight, that lingering doubt crept in, whispering, "This can't be a good idea. You're still new here. Don't jeopardize yourself by speaking up." In that critical moment, I chose silence, allowing the opportunities to slip through my fingers. From my formative years in Bangladesh, where memorization was prized over understanding, I internalized the notion that I needed to stay hidden to avoid humiliation. At 6, an incident of public shame left a lasting scar, leading to a promise. Never expose yourself. Just hide and you'll be safe. Fast forward 3 decades, and this pattern still held sway. Faced with numbers at work, I struggled to comprehend, resorting to evasion. This weakness, my way of folding myself away, was an old coping mechanism. And then in the room of brilliant minds, a spark of creativity ignited. But that same old belief emerged, cautioning me against risking exposure. Once again, I silenced my voice and let the opportunity slip through my fingers. These stories paint a vivid picture of how a single incident at 6 led to a 3-decade-long pattern of hiding, only to continue into adulthood. The scars of the past can shape our reactions in the present unless we consciously unfold and confront them. So obviously, one of the most powerful steps is to revisit our past, to rethink and reshape it. We carry an emotional box of memories, some heavy with outdated beliefs from our younger selves. But we hold the power to unpack and explore the contents and reshape the experiences that folded us. My thoughts were that everyone else had it all figured out, and I was just not smart enough. It was tough, feeling inadequate and unsure about my own abilities. Then I came across Marissa Peer's book, I Am Enough. Those words felt like a lifeline to my emotions, like they were meant for me. And you know what? I couldn't just stop at reading the book. It was a catalyst for something truly enchanting. I embarked on a journey of Rapid Transformational Therapy, RTT, a process that delves deep, unfolding the origami of our behaviors. It's like going back and untangling the folds of our past that shape our present struggles. And suddenly, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. The negativity was fading, and my future didn't seem as scary anymore. It was liberating. I discovered that what I was experiencing had a name. It was dyslexia. Knowing that was a game changer. There was a strategy, a solution to deal with, and knowing this opened new possibilities. The thing with numbers that I was experiencing for all my life was just not a Wajeeha issue. The Bangladesh experience was something I remembered consciously, but it was not until I went back and reviewed it that I was able to gain insights and understanding that were previously obscured. This was so powerful for me that when I found out I could get training in this, I became a certified RTT hypnotherapist. I began having conversations with myself in the mirror, addressing my vulnerabilities, granting self-forgiveness, and making commitments to self-care. This internal dialogue enabled me to embrace my unfiltered reality. And you know what truly anchored me? Staying present, being in the now. It's where my genuine strength resides. No more unfolding. I've uncovered a pretty big truth. I don't need to fold myself to fit in. Instead, I'm a unique thread woven into the fabric of this universe, here to fulfill a purpose that serves our planet and its inhabitants. I'm Wajeeha Khan, and this was my story.